Welcome back to I Am Dead, the playthrough where I'll be going for the Platinum Trophy. This is part 2, and we're playing on the PS5. Also, if you haven't seen part 1, it's on my channel, but it's basically the premise is you're a ghost that's trying to prevent the volcano, it's a dormant volcano, from going off on the island that you used to live in, and you try to find maybe 1 or 2 curators so far who could sort of take over the island and make sure it doesn't basically blast, but they both refused. So now you're kind of looking for more curators, or at least one of the next few people or ghosts you meet to be curators of the island. So hopefully we will. If we don't, things will get really bad, really hairy. So hopefully we will. So without further ado, first of all, I hope you can hear me. I hope the volume's good. The old town. And again, I'm going for all the platinum all the trophies, so which will result in platinum trophy. So let's go for that. And I'll do the same old thing where collectibles, all the collectibles. So in this level, they're different. They're actually cats. What I'm going to try to do is find all the cats. Now, I'm going to do this from memory, but I think there was one here. There we go, cat. Mr. Scribble. And I have to basically find all the cats, which I think there's 9 of, because 9 lives. And I do know there was a bunch of them by the fish place, and I think that was the Kipper Company. If we zoom in here, there's like 2 right here off the bat. You can see this black cat Molly, and then we've got this one, Boxer, and then we've got this one up here, which I hope is left. Yep. Fat. Well, that's not nice. And then there's this one in here, Super Kit. Okay. And then this one, Jack. And then I think there's more, or at least one more, back behind the Kipper Company. So here. Zoom in. Oh, there's 2. Okay, so this Scotty, and then this one, Smoky Momo. Okay, and then we've got one more cat to find, and that's, I remember it was at the sweet shop. So I'm doing this all from memory. So the sweet shop is this one. Yep. And I'll just zoom the heck in here. There we go. It's right there. I can select it there. Balkit. Cool for cats. Nice. Okay, so that's one of the 4 things I needed to do. The next thing is maybe we'll start with the speech bubbles. Let's start all the way right first to see if there's any. There is. Not that I see. Oh, this guy. Let's start with him. So for this playthrough, for this episode, we'll do 2 levels.
It was the day of the island cricket match out on the volcanic sand spit. We had lost to Appledore for the past 3 years, and it was my first year as captain. I didn't want another loss on my watch. Ogden had just come back from New Zealand and told me he'd be up for it. I wasn't sure. I remembered Ogden from school. He was lanky and good in the field, but batting? Not sure.
Okay.
Ogden showed up with his own bat. He told me he'd won it in a pub in Dunedin and that it had belonged to a famous New Zealand player. I wondered whether I should put him into bat at all, but Ogden whispered to me on deck all the way home. I knew Ogden wasn't a bluffer, but he was never the guy who got picked for the first team at school. Still, I had nothing to lose. Ogden hit a 6 with his first stroke. We went wild! And just when I thought it must be a fluke, he hit another, and another. He was a machine! Ogden hit so many cricket balls out into the sea that we had to stop play. We'd run out. It was a stunning win, and we carried Ogden back across the sand and into the Camel. Even though he'd won the match pretty much single-handedly, he insisted it was all down to the bat and plenty of practice. Ogden was solid gold.
Okay, so I have to find the...
How's that? What a great day that was. And we've
Does
been
anyone know how to play
every
cricket? I
year
mentioned it a
since.
bit last
Those poor
episode,
chaps never did
but
recover
it's
from
like a little
Ogden's
bit like
incredible
baseball.
batting.
A little bit. So... it should be somewhere around here. It's usually close by. That's a barnacle. Let's see. Maybe it's inside here. Yep, it's in there. So 4 more left.
Hey, Morris.
Mementos.
Remember when we found one of these heavy balls on the beach and I dropped it on your toe?
Okay. That's done. I think we'll go maybe left a bit more. There's this guy up here.
I'm getting the scent of Grenkins again, Morris. I'll pop up to let you know when we're close to one.
Oh, Grankin's wonderful. So if you remember from the previous episode, there are little creatures we can find. Let's first find this guy. Oh, there's a Grankin here. Okay, so I think I'll go for this guy first, then the Grankin.
I remember when a young Ogden asked to join the Shelmerston Silver Band. I recognised his talent immediately. He could play anything, that lad. Literally anything. Eventually he settled on the sousaphone, which he always insisted on playing with his lucky bronze mouthpiece. One evening after the Silver Band played a storming concert in the Camel, Ogden and Sally got it into their heads to go for a night swim in the harbour, young love and all that. Ogden left his mouthpiece behind, and when we came back the next morning to pack up, it had disappeared. It really rattled him. Ogden was worried he wouldn't be able to perform without it, but of course, next time we played, he was just as good as ever. Didn't need any lucky mouthpiece, our Ogden. He could play anything, that lad.
Okay.
Ogden was so talented. A real virtuoso. Oh, I loved listening to him play.
Oh, speak for yourself, Morris. It was a terrible racket.
Okay, so now we have to find the mouthpiece, as it shows on the left. It has an OB on it, so I think if I remember, it was one of these ones that has an OB on it. Maybe this one. There we go, that has an OB. Nope, not that one, this one.
They seem to have been using it as a funnel. These bootleggers are very resourceful.
Okay. That one's done. Okay. So now we're going to look for the Grankins. So We can zoom out. Now, it looks like that house thing on the right there. Let's think. Where was it again? Oh, here. This one. But how do I... Here? No, the other way. This way. Wow, there's a lot in this chapter. Okay, we'll take one at a time. There's one here. Yep. So maybe there, if I remember. And it looks like that. That's two. Okay, and then the other one I think was easy because it was that same cat that we found. There we go. Okay, and then I think we had like 11 more. So one here. Yes, there's in most of these they have it. I think if we go into like one of the windows or something, this window. I'm trying to remember. This one. Window. Rooms. There was something down here. A winch. Maybe. Level. I try. Oh, that's the winch. Okay. Here's this side, huh? Now, this side. There. There you go. It was a little difficult. Very finicky. So then there was another one. This camel pup. And I remember it being in the karaoke machine right here. And then let's see, where is it? There. Okay. A lot of Gremkins in this level. I really like to hang out here. And then let's see what else we have. Yep. I think maybe here. Yeah, because of its leg you can see. So I have to do it like that. food. There's another one. Zoom into the store. Oh, I have to probably zoom this way. Station. Oh. This one? I think it was this one. Yep. So halfway done with the rankings, at least on this level. Okay. Now what? Kipper Street. Yep, there's one there. So kippers are fish. So I think they're tails, right? That's what it looks like, tails. There we go. It will be inside of them, not their tails. Okay. So the crab counter is next. And I see a bubble thing in there. This is definitely... I think maybe I'll finish the Grankins first, then go to the bubble first. I'm sure this one also has it. I kind of remember... Okay, maybe this one. Something like that. That's it. Okay, only 4 left. Okay, Shellings and Sweets has one. Oops, not in there. Goes into the store. Yes, I can. Front counter. Oh, Swedish fish. Gobstoppers. This was it. Okay, now to find the right angle. This. Usually the controller, when it vibrates, will let me know. So that's what I use. Maybe it's upside down. There we go. Okay. This way. So it is upside down, I think. Oh, I did wrong. This one's kind of hard. Go in again. So upside down. That's it. That one's toughish. So it's like that. There we go, easy. Only 2 more Grankins here. Yep. Okay. There's one bubbly guy here. This would be it. Maybe it's like that. Like that. Okay, last one, and then we're done with the Grankins in this level. Seaside shop. There we go. I think the back of this was it. Yeah, there. Right? Is it the front of it? Yeah, it's the front. Catch of the day. So that's for finding all the Grankins in chapter 3. Okay, so now we can maybe do more of the bubbles. We have 2 here, and then I think there's 1 more extra. So we'll leave the 1 more extra last. And then we'll do the riddles, and then we'll come back and do the last bubble.
I remember we was walking home from school, a bunch of us, and I told him my granddad said the lad had a live Bactrian camel living somewhere in the woods. Everyone laughed, but I told them it was true. Ogden didn't believe me. Someone would have seen it. He dared me to climb in and prove it. I told him he'd have to come with me. Sneaking past the big house, we were almost caught by the gamekeeper and had to run. Hell for leather for the woods. We reached the trees out of breath. I was bent double and leant against a tree. Ogden had better breath control and he recovered quickly. He saw it first. The clouds parted, the moon shone down, and Ogden gasped. And then I did too. Was it? It was. The next day, we were kicking ourselves. No one was going to believe us, but we knew what we saw.
Oh, yeah, he was a couple of years above these chaps at school. Oh, and he's right. No one believed them. We gave them so much stick.
Okay, so I think there's like a barrel here, yep. I think it was here. If I'm not mistaken. Yep, there's a cow. No, I want the cam. There we go, porcelain cam. Now, if I remember, we also saw a person at the crab shack.
Camels are so obviously a made-up animal. Humans will believe any old rubbish.
Okay, so let's go back. Crab shack. Here was the bubbles.
We were 14 when we started going out. Me and my friend Cassia had started a beach clean at the weekend, and Ogden turned up with his mate Godfrey. I had no idea Ogden liked me. He was the tallest in our year, and we all fancied him. By the time we reached the little cove at the north end of the beach, he'd asked me to come to a concert he was playing in. I said yes. We'd been going out for a few years when I applied to Floristry College on the mainland. I didn't tell Ogden. I didn't believe I'd get in, and didn't want him to think I was trying to get away from him. Ogden might have looked mature and confident, but he was a gentle soul. not nearly as sure of himself as he looked. But I did get in. And he was gutted. I felt terrible. I didn't want to hurt Ogden. He said he didn't mind, but I could see he was covering. My last week on Shelmerston was really hard. Every time I saw him, it felt so strained, and I couldn't sleep. Finally, on my last night, I made a decision. I would take an apprenticeship at the garden centre on the island instead, so we could stay together. It felt like the right thing to do. I would tell Ogden in the morning. But when I opened the door the next day, I found Ogden's sousaphone left on the doorstep. I was terrified. What did it mean? What had he done? I ran down to his house, my heart in my mouth. His mum, she never did like me, was a little bit smug. She told me Ogden had sailed off to New Zealand. He was headed to Christchurch, she said, and didn't know when he was coming back. Then she shut the door. I was more than a bit tearful, but, looking back, I think we both needed to have a bit of an adventure.
I spend a lot of time with Sally during this period. We used to meet up quite often when she returned from Floristry College, and I was working at the museum. For a while, I thought maybe we would get together. But she always seemed a bit out of reach, sort of distracted. Well, makes sense now.
Alright. So, I think it's somewhere here. I think the ship is what we're looking for, so right here. So now I think we'll just do the riddles, which are the third collectible.
How did that get in there?
And then we'll do the last memento. We're done with this level. So let's find where the riddles are again here, I think. Yep. Hard cell. Let's go back here. I remember this one here. Easy. Houdini cephalopod. Yeah, I remember this. It's in the water tower. There we go. There we go. To find these, it goes really fast. There we go. The other is also like right there, but there's a second one right there. The worms. So again, this is probably the more challenging of the things, but again, it's really not hard if you know where to look. Oh, you can see worms are in there. So it's a big scoop. I'm just trying to figure out where that was again. There, the big scoop. So let's find this again there. Oh, there he is. Wizard Seagull.
Whee! Riddle me ree! You've solved half my riddles, my boy! Keep going, keep going. You might become the first person in 1,000 years to receive Mr. Whitstable's special riddle reward.
Whoa! Okay, Mr. Whitstable. We'll keep at it.
Why?
Riddle me, my boys. That's half the riddles in the game solved. Okay. So now we just need one more bubble, which is this person here. And we are done with this level after this. So it's the same Ogden's widow, Sally Mapes.
I missed Ogden so much, and for the first month there was no letter at all. I took my place at college on the mainland without knowing how he was feeling. It was a shock how low it made me, even though I was working with flowers, my dream job. I threw myself into making friends and working as hard as I could. I wondered about him travelling the world, without me and without his sousaphone. What he was doing, how he was feeling. Then the letters started arriving, and it was amazing. Each one came with a penny from a different country. One from Valparaiso, another from Dakar. I wrote back and told Ogden about my course, trips to Kew Gardens, which were amazing. Then Ogden told me about his voyage, watching dolphins and flying fish, crossing the equator. Sometimes we were both lonely. We poured out our hearts to each other. In a funny way, I think the letters made us closer than ever. When he was in church, he'd send me flowers pressed in his letters. I sent him a shell from home, and then he sent me a New Zealand halfpenny. It was my favourite. On one side was the head of a Maori tiki. Ogden told me it was lucky. I came back to the island, and when my father died, I opened up my own florist shop on the quay. I tucked the halfpenny under the front step for luck, polished up Ogden's sousaphone and put it in the window. They both brought me luck, and the shop flourished. One day, Ogden showed up at the shop, completely out of the blue. He told me there was nowhere like Shelmerston, and no one like me. I was so thrilled to see him, I asked him to marry me there and then. He said yes.
Okay.
The lure of Shelmerston. It always pulls people back when they try to move away. They were a lovely couple, Sally and Ogden.
So we have to find the coin, the New Zealand coin. It was in here. There.
Yet one good thing about being dead, I'll never have to deal with counting change again.
Ah, yes. A very distinctive odour indeed. I reckon I can find him from this. Here I come, Ogden.
Okay. So this is Ogden. Just gonna try and find all these spirits, or spirit pieces. So 9 out of 12, so 3 left. This is quite easy. And they're all right here. Or not. I got rid of that. Oh, no. I missed them down here somewhere. Okay. Fine. I'm done. things, so let's finish this level. This is Ogden.
Oh, this feels so good. Terrific to see you, Morris.
Oh, it's great to see you too, mate.
Have a stretch, Ogden. We have a question.
Sparky, owner of the very finest singing voice on the island. What can I do for you?
Well, it's about the custodian. We need a replacement.
Ah, yes. I've heard that volcano rumbling. Poor Aggie must be very tired.
Yes, she is. We need a replacement.
Oh, you want me to be the custodian? Well, I'm honored, but I can't.
Are you sure? The island is in dire need.
I know, and I sympathize, but Sally is the other half of me. I need to watch over her. Everything else may be changing, but she's my constant, and I'm hers. I need to go into the West with her when it's her time.
Yes, I understand. You two always did have an enviable connection.
We were very lucky to find each other. And I'm still lucky just to watch over her. Makes this place still feel a bit like home, even as it changes. So I'm going to stay. But listen, once you've found the custodian, come back and enjoy a sniff of that beer in the Camel with me, eh?
Sure, Ogden. Well, see you around.
So another failure that doesn't want to become custodian, and now it's getting night.
Well, after all these years, Ogden still carries that torch for Sally. I wish I'd been so lucky. Things I should have done.
You were busy with the museum, Morris. And you did walks, and you did fetch, and belly rubs, and...
Yeah, all right, yes. I was very busy. Thank you for reminding me.
You did plenty. But now you need to find the next custodian.
Hey, how long has Aggie been custodian?
Oh, a little while now. You've met her, actually.
I have?
Well, her body, anyway. In the museum.
What? Her body? In the museum? Oh, wait!
That's right, Morris.
The Bog Lady. The Bog Lady of Shelmerston. What, that's Aggie?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's her body, anyway. Her spirit is all around us, of course.
But Aggie is Bronze Age. 3,000 years. She's been custodian all that time?
Yep.
Wow. No wonder she's tired.
More tired every minute. We need to get to the next prospect. Greg Litherland, at the campsite.
Greg. Okay.
So now we go to the campsite to see if Greg can be custodian. And it's nightfall.
The one part of the island I never spent much time at. I never cared for camping. Although we did find a lot of Bronze Age goods down here. Really fascinating bits and bobs. I reckon this was an important place once. And not just to shellers.
Oh, there's so many great smells here. Oh, and so many rabbits to chase. Stop it, Sparky, you have a job to do.
You know, I suppose I do like it better up here now I don't have to worry about combing all those burrs out of your fur. At least this part of Shelmerston isn't changing too much.
Yes. Now let's sniff out Greg.
Yeah, I always found Greg a bit difficult. That business with the owl of his.
He wasn't a bad guy at heart. Just liked animals a bit more than people, sometimes. Maybe. But who can blame him? Let's find some people who remembered him. dig a little deeper.
Memories of Greg Litherland. Here we come.
Alright, so Greg Litherland died in 2016. He ran Nab Hill campsite where his pricky demeanor and insistence on rules were notorious. He was a keen birdwatcher, a nature lover, and campaigner for the protection of Morlos. A huge fan of shell racing, Greg captured the excitement of the sport with his photographs. So let's go try and find his spirit, but through the mementos. Let's check in here. First, we're doing the wrestlers or luchadors. They're sort of toys like this one here, which you can find and select and take a look at. And I believe there is only 6 of them in this level. Under the sea, yeah. There's one here. Oh, he's missing an arm and a leg. Let's see. I thought there was like a play area. Here? Yep. There's another one. Third luchador. And I remember there being 2 in here. 1 and 2. And then this snake. I think it's inside this. There you go. Heel turn for all the luchadors. That was easy. So what we can do again is we can start the bubbles, or thought bubbles. I'll just try to remember where I can find them. I think there's one in a sleeping bag. Let's find that. Oh, there's one here. So let's listen to her.
Miles and I came to Shelmerston for the Sheller Cup final. Miles was the world champion for ages. Greg, the campsite manager, was a huge Sheller fan. Always gave us the best pitch on the campsite. Miles was up early every morning, training for the big race. Greg would always be lurking in the background, taking photos. It became rather annoying. How many photos did he need? Oh God, and one time he turned up at our barbecue and wouldn't leave. The man could not take a hint. So, race day arrives and Greg is there with his camera, of course, getting in everyone's way. So Greg leans out into the track as the pack came past, Miles in the lead. And Miles goes crashing right into Greg. Total disaster. Miles goes down and Kwasi flies past him to win the race. Miles was absolutely gutted. He definitely would have won it. Later that night, all us Shellers were on our way back from the pub and we heard Greg outside his caravan, just sat by himself, crying. Miles, he was such a good sport, went over and spoke to him, invited him over to our camp for a drink. So then Greg came back and hung out with us, brought his camera and showed us all his shell erase photos. You know, that guy was actually a pretty great photographer. By the end of the night, Miles had forgiven him. Miles was good like that.
Okay, so we're looking for...
Shellers! I never understood the appeal of that. Seems bloomin' uncomfortable to me. Poor old Greg. He was always rubbing people up the wrong way, but he meant well. And he really loved this place.
Okay. And then... There's the camera.
Oh, I wish we could use this! I am a very photogenic dog, you know. I'm getting the scent of Grenkins again, Morris. I'll pop up to let you know when we're close to one.
Okay. So... let's go to... the main office. Okay, so there's Grenkins here. I think it was this rose, it looks like. Maybe turn it around. Yep. Got for the goat. Eight of them. Not too bad. Let's speak with this one.
I only knew Greg briefly, from the summer that I took over the campsite and he retired. He seemed harmless enough, if a bit strange, living in that nasty little caravan. As part of his official handover process, he gave me a big box of rule books that I was apparently supposed to give every camper when they arrived. I couldn't believe them. The amount of inches apart each tent had to be, the angle of pitch, permitted colours of guy ropes. No skipping ropes, marbles, conkers or throwing games. No singing with hand drums. I built a huge fire on the beach, invited the whole site for a big party and burned the lot. But then, awkward, Greg showed up. I guess he'd been collecting some things from his caravan and came to see what the noise was all about. You could tell he wasn't comfortable, but he sat down and tried to make conversation. I told him how beautiful I thought Shelmerston was, and he started telling me all about the wildlife here and the best places to spot birds. He was actually quite a sweet guy. He must have noticed what we were burning, but he never mentioned it. That was the last time I saw him. I always felt a bit guilty. I mean, I got him wrong. He wasn't that bad.
Well, it's a good thing she kept one of them. It must be around here somewhere.
Somewhere around here. Maybe not there, maybe here, this one. Yep.
What's this about dogs having to be on leads the whole time? Outrageous.
Okay, great. There was maybe. Okay, there's Grenkin, but I think I'll first see if there is something here. Yep, this guy. Grace Jackson, birdwatcher.
My whole life I've dreamed of seeing a Jempson's sea owl. One day, I read the news that a guy on this little island called Shelmerson had discovered one. I had to see it. The only B&B on the island booked up really fast, so we decided to stay at the temporary campsite set up by the guy who discovered the sea owl, Greg Litherland. The atmosphere was amazing. There were twitchers from all over the world come to see it. Greg had given the owl a name, David Abrahams. A bit weird, but I guess he was the one who found it. And because it had no mate, it was lonely, and he'd made a model female owl out of concrete. That was quite impressive. I got to know Greg a bit during my stay. He really seemed to resent all the noise and fuss on the island. His island, as he thought of it. And the irony was that he was the one who'd got everyone excited about coming to Shelmerston. Greg told us he'd take us up in groups to the owl's nest sites, but I snuck up early with my camera. It saw me and it flew off hooting and I didn't get a picture. I was gutted. I had to make do with a picture of the model. It wasn't the same.
I remember that. All those bird watchers suddenly arriving and nowhere for them to stay. I didn't think Greg had it in him to start a campsite, but he somehow pulled it together.
Okay, so I think the owl that we're looking for is down here.
Oh, poor old David Abrahams.
Okay, so, let's see. This is it. That's 2 out of 8. And I think there was one we missed here in the wash block. So, washing up station. Or it's here. Or no, I think here, washing station. I think there's some outlets or something which I'm not seeing. Or maybe it's inside. Oh, this? Yep. There we go. Okay, that's 3 of the 8. And then, now if we head further back right, I think there was one, yeah, too far, here. That's cool. it's one of these inside. Yeah, I think it's this one. Yep. It's like that. Here we go. We're done with the Grankins on this level. And then I remember there was one memento here as well. One of the harder ones, in fact. Because you have to find some sort of pea among
I love
rabbit
camping. We've come to Shelmerston every summer with the kids for years. Okay, our tent is a bit bright, but that means the kids can always see it. Greg seemed angry about everything this year. He told us our tent was outside of the regulation colours, and being around the kids seemed to really upset him. But they were only being kids, just running around playing. Greg was blowing that bloody whistle every 5 minutes. One day, Greg confiscated my little one's kite. He was terrifying. We still sometimes get nightmares about it. I had to do something. When I saw Greg put the whistle down, I pinched it and took out the pea. You know, the thing that makes the noise. I threw that pea somewhere Greg would never find it. You should have seen his face when he blew his whistle and nothing happened.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that there was like a pea that.
I always wondered how Greg managed to get so good at hand whistling.
Okay, so the pea is here, but the problem is finding it. So these are poo. Oh, not rabbit poo, this one. That's a pea. It took way longer the first time I did this.
The smell of rabbit poo. It doesn't excite me the way it used to when I was alive.
Okay, good. We'll go for the next cranking now. Yeah, this is kind of obvious. There we go. Okay, that's done. What's next? This cool box. Let's make a triangle or something. There we go. Okay. That's where the riddles start. But there is another break in here. There we go. And then we'll have one more. So the last one. Okay, the memento's in there, but I'm gonna leave that for last. I'll do the riddles first, so we don't continue the story accidentally. this. Maybe. That was longer. Oh, you know what? I think it's upside down. Huh. Yeah, I think it was definitely the long way. Maybe it was this way. Let's see. The other way? Okay. Why can't I unlock this one? Oh, this is what I have to do. Morning campers, so that's all of the items done. Okay. Now we'll have to go back and we'll have to look for all the riddles now. Now. Okay, so the riddle location is this branch here. Will you show me turbo tank first? Okay, so we'll have to be quick here. Here. And then go back into the next one. So this one, last season's old banger. This one. Yep. Oh, sorry, I passed it. But I think, okay, you have to find it here. The bounty is hard. Okay, okay, this is where we found it. You can kind of maybe see it there, right here. Okay, and then actually we already know where this next one is because we found it before. El Gran Caballo Jr. It's in the play place. There. And the same snake, the toy, inside this one. Done with that one. Okay, and then we'll go back out. Let's go back. Here. So the Nippy Scuttler 100. Wash block. faster. Whew, that was close. Okay, that's those done. So riddles are done, collectibles are done, Grankins are done, and I can actually, I don't know if I can see the Grankins. Yeah. So the last 3 levels I have 19 Grankins. So that's like 6 to 7 per each. So the last memento is what we'll go for in this level. And then maybe I can squeeze in one more level.
My best thing is throwing discs. I am really good. I like playing with Dan and Toller. It's our favourite thing when we go camping on Shelmerston. One time, Greg Lifflin came up the beach, all red-faced like an angry tomato. He pointed at a sign. It said, "No throwing games." He was yelling and shouting at us. He told me to give him my disc, but I wouldn't. I threw it high up into the air, and it went bang into a massive bird. Then the bird fell into the sea. I felt so awful. I never meant to hurt the bird. The whole thing was terrible. Mr. Liffalam was screaming. He waded into the sea, picked up that bird, and carried it back to the beach. He was crying and crying. I'm sorry, Mr. Liffaland.
That's traumatizing.
Oh, Greg. Poor guy. Oh, and that poor bird. I guess that explains why he was always so prickly.
So I have to go find the disc, which is, again, I think in here. The sofa. There we go.
Things. Reminds me of our walks on the beach. Woof! Okay, I've got his scent. It was quite faint, but I'm a very good dog. Let's go find him.
Okay, last part of this level. That's the spirit, so we have to find the pieces of him. We'll just do one round and see if I can get them all, otherwise I'll do another round. That did the trick. That's Greg. He looks angry. Now he looks happy.
Greg! Oh, hello.
Morris, what are you doing here? Oh, hello there, pup.
Hi, Greg.
You can talk now. Rather prefer my animals when they don't talk.
Yeah, Greg, we need to ask you, would you be interested in being the next island custodian? It's a very important job.
Oh, no, absolutely not. This is your mess. You can sort it out.
My mess? Well, how do you mean?
You dug her up. I warned you and I warned you when we were still alive that those archaeological digs were a bad idea. And now we know exactly how bad.
Well, now hold on, Greg. That's not how that works.
Oh, isn't it? Talking dog. 3,000 years, no eruptions. You dig Aggie up, and then suddenly her grip on the island is weakening. Well, some coincidence that sounds like.
I didn't. I never did.
No. There's no way I'm doing that job. It's too much obligation, it's not my responsibility, and frankly, one lifetime of humans was plenty for me. Now, I'm going to stay right here until I can find David Abrams.
Fine. Thanks, Greg. See ya, I suppose.
Thanks, Greg.
So another failure. Well, looks worse.
It's not looking good, is it, old girl?
Don't worry, Morris. I hate it when you worry. It makes me nervous.
He's waiting for David Abrams. I guess I'm like him in that way. The most important person in my life wasn't technically a person, more like an island.
Yes, the island. This island. A whole island's worth of people and stories. Not like Greg at all. Everyone loves you.
Really? Well, loved me, perhaps, past tense.
No, they still do. And there's one more person who loves you we need to talk to. Our last prospect. I just know we're getting close now.
Hey, Sparky, how do you know all this stuff? I mean, you're just my dog, aren't you?
Well, nobody is just anything, Morris. I'm mostly the dog you raised, but I'm also kind of a messenger, a scout, part of something bigger. Aggie sent me to help guide you.
Aggie sent you?
No time to explain, Morris. We have to get to the last prospect.
Well, however it came to be, I'm glad I get to spend more time with you, old friend.
So am I, Morris. Now, off to see Samfire down at the harbour.
Ah, Sam. Yeah, lead the way, girl.
Okay, so that's at the boat area, which is the second to last in the game. So I think maybe I'll try to finish the game tonight. Let's see. See how long it takes.
Ah, the harbour. I always loved watching the boats come in and out. Never did get around to expanding the fishing exhibit, did I? You remember coming down here with me?
I'd have liked it better if you'd have let me swim.
I love your confidence, Sparky. But you always thought yourself a bigger dog than you actually were.
Oh. Lots more boats than there used to be, though, aren't there?
Certainly are. Shelmerston got busy. Though this is busier than even I remember. Say, how long have we been doing this search?
Oh, I don't know, Morris. Once you're dead, time seems to be a bit less important.
Does it? Oh, I don't know. I suppose it seems a bit galling that time and everything else keeps moving even though I've stopped. Makes a man feel unimportant.
Oh, you're not unimportant, Morris. You're saving the island. And to do that, we better go find some people who remember Samfire.
Yes, Sam surely understands the feeling of watching everything change. Fish folk live for what, 200 years? That's no small amount of change.
Not volcano change, though, Morris. And that's what we need to avoid. Off we go!
So Samfire died in 2010. He's one of the fish folk, so he's an actual creature. Sam was one of the first of their kind to fully integrate with the ways of the land, taking a position of responsibility as Shelmerston's harbor controller. Sam played an important part in helping the island to retain its own identity in the face of industrialization and tourism. They were an integral member of the Save the Morlo movement. Okay, so this is the boats of Shelmerston. So what we'll do first now is, again with the collectibles, we'll find the collectibles, which are thermoses. Okay. There's one. There. And there's 6 of them. They're pretty much one for each of the locations. There's one here. It's Thermos 2. There's another bubble there. There it is. That's 3, so 3 more. And then the one is here, the C-Def. I think one of these lockers, maybe. Not that one, but maybe this one. There we go. That's 4. And then another one. What's that prison thing again? Queen of the Isles. Where is this? Wheelhouse. Sitting on the ship's controls right here. That's 5. And the last one is also on the Queen of the Isles. Where is it again? The engine room. There it is, I think. This. There we go, refreshing brew. Okay, we're almost done with all these collectibles. There's just the last levels, which were butterflies, I believe. But first, now we'll do the mementos. Let's start all the way on the left. There's not too many boats to look at here. So there's one guy here, Maisie Louise. Winkle Bob.
When I was a kid, I hated the annual Morlo Call. I was kept away and found excuses not to be there. Then, aged 10, my dad marched me down to the beach with other men and put a knife in my hand. It was the worst day of my life. I saw Morlo slip from jaw to belly, more blood than you could imagine. I didn't sleep for months after. But you grow up, don't you? I never felt it right that we was killing Morlos, but what could I do about it? I was just a fisherman. One day I see Samfire, the new harbour officer, handing out leaflets on the quayside. Stop that, Col. I went along to that first meeting at the campsite. Greg Litherland was one of the other organisers. It was beautiful. So much hope around that campfire. When I spoke about the pain of the Morlo, it really felt like the young uns were listening. Me, Sam and Greg held regular events to raise funds for badges and patches. I was proud to wear mine on my best Gansey. There was quite a rift between us and the old guard. They felt the ban was an attack on our ways. Sam and me took a load of the fishermen out for a beer, and Sam made them listen. They really respected Sam. We got most of them on our side that way. By 87, we finally felt like we had enough support to push for change. So the week before the Morlow showed up, we organised a mass dying on the beach. There were loads of us lying down on that sand. Islanders, fishermen, fish folk all together. And the press showed up, and the mainland TV, and for the first time in 500 years, we stopped that cull.
I'm so glad we don't do that cull anymore. I was proud of Sam and that lot when they finally made the old uns see sense. And, well, I did my part. Held a lot of those early meetings at the museum, we did.
Okay. That's the patch you're looking for.
Oh, I love Morlows. Such gentle creatures.
Okay, so 4 more mementos.
I'm getting the scent of Grenkins again, Morris. I'll pop up to let you know when we're close to one.
Rankin's great. Nope, I think it was in the cockpit here. I'll come back to it. I'll do the bubbles first.
I swim with a pod south of the Fire Isles. I believe the dry-siders call the larger one Shelmerston. It's where the ceremony happens for the dry-sider who stopped the world from cracking. That's where I first heard talk of toast, and where I met the friend called Samfire. I did not believe it at first, a food which snaps so dry. Then one morning at sunup, I followed the ship and caught a blackened slice as it arced into the water. This was the start of my lifelong love of toast. I saw Samfire on the dry side and came up out of the sea to ask them for toast. They asked me to put on some pants, but I refused to denigrate myself with dry-side fabric. No matter, I had brought some shiny coins with me that I found on the seabed and secreted in my swimming falls. Sam took me to their parents' toast shack, but they refused to serve me without clothes. They also told me that my shiny coins were unsuitable, too old. So Sam lent me some trousers, and I swept the toast shack in return for crispy slices. Sam taught me some of the ways of the dry-siders, but to be honest, I'm only interested in the toast. I never wanted to eat anything else. Sam understood this. I spend my nights swimming through the black waters of the deepest ocean trenches. By day, I come up onto quayside and fill up on the finest crusted seedy bloomer, almost black, no butter.
Oh, I could really go for a nice piece of toast right now. but, yeah, with butter.
Okay, so it's somewhere in here. Oh, this is where the Genkin is. Nine of them. Okay, so there's like a piece of toast I'm looking for. No. I don't think it's maybe bedroom. Not in there. So maybe it's in the cabin. Maybe in one of these. Nope. Maybe in the chair. Oh, there it is.
It's a shame, but it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of toast on this side.
Okay, so let's go to, I think we missed one here on Maisie Louise. Yep. So let's see where that could be. This is it. That's another gun. Okay, and then we'll find this one as well. Extra secret compartment. I think that'll be the top. Nope, it's going to be from one of the sides. There we go. So it's a third of the way done with the Grankin on this level. But before I go on, follow this guy, Lance Dunstan the fisherman.
By the time Sam started as the harbour controller in '79, the fishing industry in Shelmerston was on its arse. No way to compete with those factory trawlers from the mainland, was there? Couldn't moor those things anywhere near the island, even if we had them. Of course we were all smuggling, stands to reason, done it? There was no money. All those old fishing sheds on the quay, the ones the tourists like, were falling down. Whole place looked, pardon me, like a tip. There was a lot of trouble at first. Sam trying to stick by the rules and catch us out any way they could, and us trying any which way to give her the runabout. Wasn't easy, mind you. She was smart, Sam. You never knew when they were going to pop her head out of the water beside your tub. And to be fair to Sam, some of them smuggling boys were bad uns. Worse stuff than booze on some of them boats, and that's the truth. Probably no bad thing Sam put a stop to it. But in time, Sam started to see how things were, how we do things, and we came to an understanding of sorts. If Sam turned a blind eye to a bit of the decent stuff, the harmless stuff, then we'd report the worst of it. I mean, we all want to keep the seas safe, stands to reason. Plus, Sam was partial to a bottle or two of the sheep shank on occasion. Oh, yeah. Sam was sharp as a gutting knife. They made us hand over some of the, shall we say, dividends to fix up the quay. All them sheds and that. Make them into something we can be proud of. Turn things around for Shelmerston, that did. Now we get more of those tourists since the big ferry started. And they love a day out on a boat. Ken takes them all out, he does. At the same time, Sam organised a kind of work-sharing thing with the fish folk. Got some of them to swim along with the fishing boats, help them locate the biggest shoals. Gave those big trawlers with all their fancy radar gear a run for their money. We'll never be big players in the fishing down here. But thanks to Sam, we hold our own. Bless him.
Okay, so we're...
I reckon I still have a bottle or two of sheep shank stashed away at the museum. Don't suppose anyone will ever drink them now.
Sheep shank. So I think that's what we're looking for. Maybe in here, commemorative sheep shank box. Yep.
Ah, a different kind of spirit to the ones we've been looking for.
Okay, that's 3 out of 5 of the mementos. And then we'll do this C-Dev. There's a memento there, but before that I'll do the Rankin, which I remember being this pot, kettle, whatever. Four out of 9. And then we can get done with this bubble. Coral. Fish person diver.
It was the 6th summer after I spawned that I went to my first Aggie's Day ceremony. You know, Aggie, the dry-sider who saved the world from cracking in two. We don't go on land until we're 6 years old. It's all swimming, wafting around. Standing up is hard at first, the weight distribution. Anyway, I went up dry side for the ceremony, and that was where I first met Sam. It was so loud and hot out there, all that shell blowing. I was bored, and my body felt dry and heavy. I was too young, really. There were souvenir stalls selling bracelets with little stones of polished lava. I wanted one so bad, I would not shut up about it. Sam saw I was fed up. They took me up the beach, away to the dunes, and Sam gave me a little polished stone of my own to play with. Had a heart of gold, they did. It wasn't until years later that I found out it was a tiny replica of the one Aggie died on. We became good friends. Sam helped a lot. They were always on my side. My pod, we were quite traditional, didn't like us working with the dry-siders, but Sam talked me into going for the job as a diver on the new harbour. If it wasn't for them, I don't think I'd have tried. That stone was my lucky charm. I took it with me when I went for the interview, and I took it down with me when I went on my first dive. I had a pocket made specially in my tool belt. Sam took me under their fin, invited me out to the Camel, and let me stay with them and Blythe on the ferry if it was a late one. And there were plenty of late ones. Karaoke. Every time I feel that lucky stone in my pocket, I think of Sam.
I remember all the fish folk coming up on the beach for Aggie's Day when I was a lad. Seems less of a big deal these days. I guess they still celebrate it, but, well, it's a lot more sedate. Back then, it was a huge event.
Okay, and I remember it being in the diving jacket. He gave the hint of the pocket. So, that's it.
Oh, magic stones? I knew humans were superstitious, but I thought the fish folk would be a bit more savvy.
Great. So we just have one memento left in this level. But I'll finish off the Grankins first, then the riddles, then the memento. And then we'll finish this level. So there's a Grankin here. I'm trying to think. Oh, I think it's this one. There we go. Okay. There's one here. So that's 6 of them. 3 left. Let's see. Okay. There we go. 2 left. So this is gonna be in engine room. There we go. And then one last one for this level. Is the last bubble guy there. And that's it for the Grand Casinos of all at sea. Okay, now we're gonna go for the riddles. So there's again 5 of them on this level. But to find the poster where the riddles are, okay, you have to zoom in here. And it's this. So first we'll do Hidden Diamond, and I think it was in this hard hat here. Yeah, because it's a card of diamonds, ace of diamonds. Okay. Only mouse ball. It should be this. So super simple so far. Oops, sorry. I got too far. Okay. Next one. We secret weapon. So this is not in that location, but that's here. More Louise. And we go zoom in. Galley. Yeah, Maisie Louise. Oops, sorry. Galley. So it's a knife there. Okay, and then we have one more riddle. And we're done with the riddles on this level after this. Okay, so we've done the riddles, we've found all the thermoses, and we've found all the Genkins, so it's just this last memento.
I first met Sam when I sailed the new ferry, the Queen of the Isles, into harbor. Of course, I'd heard of the fish folk, but I'd never met one. Sam was an amazing pilot. Knew the waters better than any boatman. It was strange, steering a course for someone actually in the water, but we never went wrong with Sam to guide us in. Next time I was in Chelmerston, we went for a drink at the Camel. I'm more into bats than beer, but Sam was intriguing, and the atmosphere in there was great, like a warm nest. Great band, too. Awesome sousaphone player. I think we got on because we were both a little bit on the outside of things. Sam invited me over for toast and hot chocolate. Honestly, hot chocolate doesn't do it for me. But the toast, that multi-seed bread. Sam made the best toast. I told Sam that next to a good cuttlefish bone, that it was my favorite snack. I stayed over. In the morning, we went for a walk along the beach. And just as the sun was rising, I took them flying on my back. We went up and looked down over the islands. Sam wasn't scared at all. They said it was like swimming through the air. It was on the next trip to Chelmerston. We just sighted land when Sam's head popped out of the water right beside my berth and passed me a fresh cuttlefish bone, carved especially for me. When we moved in together, it was the best day of my whole life. I put that cuttlefish bone on my bedside table within beak reach. I still look at it every day, every single day.
Okay, so this item...
I just remembered that time Blythe and I did a duet in the
wheelhouse.
I can't believe I agreed to it. Must have had a few too many. I never knew how Sam and Blythe met.
Okay, so here... and controls... There it is.
Oh, I used to love finding these on the beach.
So we just back out all the way.
Oof. Sam, this is an easy scent profile. I'm coming, Sam.
So there's the spirit. So I think now these run away from me. So you have to keep barking at them. So I found half of them. So to the right side, there's probably half there. There we go. And it's another level done. And we just have the last level left. The museum.
Ahoy there, Sunfire.
Morris and Sparky! Lovely to see you both. What can I do for you two?
Well, we wanted to ask you something. It's about Aggie.
She doesn't have long left now, does she? Poor thing.
No, not long at all. We were hoping you might replace her as custodian.
Oh, Morris. I spent years of my life as harbour master trying to keep people from meddling with nature. I don't feel any differently now. I'm appreciative of all Aggie has sacrificed for us, but the island spirit isn't evil. It just needs to erupt from time to time. And if it needs to now, let it, I say. Let nature do what it must. As the fish folk say, the tides will tell.
Yeah, Sam, I hear that. I really do.
No, Morris. We can't just give up.
Now, we'll talk about this in a bit, Sparky. Sam, it's always good to see you. Will you be around later?
I think I will. A volcanic eruption is a rare and beautiful thing. I think I'd like to see it.
So all of them don't want to be custodians. And look at the volcano about to erupt.
Okay, we just need to talk to Aggie. She'll know what to do.
No, Sparky. I've been thinking about it. I think Samfire's right. I think it's maybe time to let the town go.
No, Morris. It's not.
No, it's all right, Sparky girl. It's over. This isn't my town anymore. The only ones around here who remember me are ghosts.
That's not true.
No, it is. But that's all right. Truly it is. Everything for a season and all that. And I miss the people I knew. The people who've moved on. I want to see them again. I think I will take Pete Nochop on his offer and head into the west with him. Shelmerston doesn't need Morris Lupton any longer.
Morris Lupton, you will not give up. You have been granted a precious responsibility and you will honor it.
Sparky?
I'm sorry about that. Remember when I told you I was mostly Sparky? I am, but mostly.
Then what else are you?
I am the rock that you stand on. The wood you people built this town from. the magma bubbling beneath your feet. I am Selmiston. And right now, I want to erupt. But I have also made connections to the things that live here. Connections I want to keep alive. I need you, Morris.
Right. Well,
And I'm still your Sparky. And I need you, Morris. We all do.
Oh, Sparky.
I know you feel forgotten. I know you want to move on. I do too, but I can't until I wrap up this last bit of unfinished business. Will you try one last avenue with me? If we still can't find a solution, then I'll be done. It'll all be done. And we can go into the West together. Please.
All right, Sparky. One last try. But who else is there to talk to?
Aggie.
Aggie? But where is she? I mean, she's everywhere, isn't she?
She is. But I can sniff her out. I just need some mementos.
But where would we find mementos from back then? Oh, of course.
Back to your museum, Morris.
So now we'll react or find the current custodian of the island to see if we can fix this volcano from erupting. And it's going to be in the museum, Shelmerston Museum.
Ah, well, it's reopened. Well, I suppose that's good. You need to keep up the footfall. Everything has to move on.
Yes, but, you know, it is still your museum, Morris. It wouldn't be here without you.
It was never my museum, Sparky. It was Shelmerston's. It's changing, but, you know, I think it should. So, what happens now? How do we find 4,000-year-old memories?
Come with me, Morris. There's one more thing I ought to show you.
Okay, Sparky.
Okay, so first, like previously, we'll find the collectibles, and here it's very easy. There's just 8 butterflies, and they're pretty much all in similar locations. You have to click on each one of them. And when you're done with these collectibles in the game, let's turn around. There should be butterflies here. These are the last 4 right here. Go pin down. Okay, those are all those collectibles. So now the other 3 things we have to do are Grenkins.
Well,
And mementos.
don't suppose I'll ever look at Aggie's room the same way again, will I?
Morris, take a look at those skulls, please.
The skulls? Well, they have memories inside them? Oh, that's rather morbid, Sparky.
Not quite. Look, I didn't explain this before because I felt things were confusing enough, but that slicing is a bit more powerful than I've led you to believe.
Oh, well, what do you mean?
Well, we aren't limited to memories of people who are alive. People are bounded by time, but memories aren't. Check it out.
Oh, I didn't think dead stomachs could get queasy, but here we are. Where are we, Sparky?
When are we, Morris? This is Shelmerston in Aggie's time. You should be able to find some memories of her here.
You are some dog, Sparky.
Okay, so I remember you just have to find the bubbles here. Unap.
It was the worst night in the world when Aggie was born. It began in the old village, the one swept away by the rivers of fire. The ground shook and the earth split open and spat sparks. The sun hid and the huts burst into flame as we fled. I thought we would all die. Everyone washed in the burning orange death, and Aggie's mother howling with the pain of the child coming. We made it as far as the cliff top by the sea. The mountain was still roaring and roaring. The rock ran in rivers toward the sea. The air smelled of death and poison. But Aggie was perfect. Small and angry, her tiny fists pummeling the air. I used my knife to cut the cord. We chose a spot for the new village closer to the beach. The burning rivers cooled to pumice and black glass. I made sure everyone knew that a life that began in this way would be special. Not everyone believed me, but Aggie proved me right.
My goodness. Giving birth like that must have been awful. What a terrifying situation.
So, where do you think that knife is? Should we look around here, or...?
No, I'm pretty sure I've seen that knife before. Back at the museum, I reckon.
Okay, Morris, let's go.
So we actually have to go back to the museum. So, if I recall, this is it? Yeah.
Beautiful. And to think that people had not long stopped using flint tools when this was made.
There is so much history in this knife.
Ooh.
I'd love to see what else.
Uh, 1400 BC. Oh, this is it. Yeah, I think this is the match. There we go. So 10 of them.
Oh, I'll sing you a song of the Queen of the Sea. Of when
So 4
I
more.
first met her and when she first met me.
It's this way. There we go. Okay. If you want to see them, I think it's map. Yeah, these are all the Grenkins that we've unlocked throughout the game. I guess each color scheme means a level. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay.
Hey, Morris. I'm getting the scent of a new place on Shelmerston we can go. It smells like... Oh...
Let's see. Grenkin Grove. Interesting. I didn't actually know this, but you can actually see Grenkins. Interesting. Let's go to Aggie again. Okay. So that was interesting. I actually didn't know that was there, like a new location. So not really seeing the point of that, but anyway, I guess it's to celebrate an unlock for Grenkins. So I think we can do, since we're done with everything else except mementos and riddles, we'll do riddles first. I just have to remember where it was here. Yep. There we go. Let's see here again. Tiny Roy. There we go. Okay, so what do we have next? Paddling plus. There we go. This one's harder. There we go, paddling puss. Phew. Girdle cushion. There you go, and we have finally one last riddle, thank
Only
goodness.
one more riddle to solve, Morris. And then...
And then?
Wondrous delights, Morris. Wondrous.
Yeah, right.
Quiet, dog. You're in the company of riddle masters here. Just one more, Morris. One more.
You get a trophy for just having one more riddle. Okay. So let's see. There you go.
Morris, you did it! Incredible work, my boy. Superlative effort.
Oh, well, thanks. Oh, thanks, Mr. Whitstable.
And now, for your reward.
Oh, boy.
Here it is, Morris. Your very own certificate of riddle mastery.
Wow, oh, thanks, Mr. Whitstable. I don't know what to say.
I'm so proud of you, Morris. And listen, whenever you want to look at this certificate again, to bask in your own brilliance, you only have to press pause and you can look at it again. And now, a song. I work when I play and I play when I work. I can run but don't walk, I have a mouth but don't talk. I grow in the winter, I die in the spring. I have eyes but don't weep, I have a song but don't sing. What am I? Why am I? Why do I exist? Who owns the fish? Riddle me this. What is that which belongs to you, but others use it more than you do? What goes up and down the hill? In spite of all, it standeth still. I have streets, but not roads, forests, no trees. I have rivers, no water. What am I, please? What am I, please? What does it mean? What did you miss? Who owns the fish? Riddle me this. Who owns the fish? Riddle me this. But why is a raven like a writing desk? And why does a mouse, when it spins, a three-legged man goes to bed every morning? Tell me some more of these wondrous things. Yes, answer my riddles, please, I insist. Who owns the fish? Riddle me this. Riddle me this. Who owns the fish? Who owns the fish? Yes, riddle me this. Who owns the fish? I work when I play and I play when I work. I can run but don't walk. I have a...
Thank goodness that's done. So let's finish up Mementos and the game now. Finally. Okay, let's find the bubbles. Wherever they may be, there. That's it. Kirk.
Of course we watched her. We had heard of her birth and seen her on the shore. Her feet sometimes in the seawater, her body in the sun. We did not show ourselves at first. As a test, we left the mirror on the black shore, born of the volcano on the same day as her, and waited to see what would happen, to see if it called to her. She picked it up, turned it from side to side. She took it home. The next time I saw her, I introduced myself. We sang together, and I showed her how the mirror worked. How if you emptied your mind and thought of air and sea, you would see things in its surface, how things would unfurl in the future. Aggie was better at mirror gazing than any of us sea folk. She saw a girl, her own daughter not yet born, as leader of the dry folk. I told Aggie to keep on gazing into that mirror, that one day the island would need something more than a leader.
Oh, I had a box of rocks that looked like that mirror somewhere. Where did I put it?
Back to the museum again. Up here. There it is.
Whoa. This thing is really powerful, Morris. Can you feel it?
Okay. And then the third memento of 5 is here. So finding bubbles again. Simple as that. There. This is Aggie's daughter, Ibni, I think. Yep.
I was always fearless. My mother Aggie told me there was nothing I couldn't do. With Otsul and without, I hunted the deer in the woods and the hares on the mountain, all before I had taken my first lover. And younger still, one time Aggie had me knock her tooth out when she was in terrible pain. I didn't mind even when the blood poured out. It was easy for me. Spears and knives were my nature. Death and courage were my meat and drink. I knew about Aggie's mirror, of course, but did not believe all of it. When Aggie warned us the mauler was sick and there would be fewer calves for the following years, none of us listened. It was to be my first cull. I wanted their blood. It was my nature. We would not take less of the Morlo just because an old woman told us to. She came to the beach after the Morlo slaughter, her hair wild, eyes burning with fury, raged and shouted like a woman out of her mind. "We had killed too many," she said. Then she left the village, told us she was done with all of us, forever. As Otsul marked me with oil and blood, I did not mourn my mother leaving. I was young and foolish, and the sight of her ashamed me. But of course, I did not see what was to come.
To think that they were still having the same arguments about the Morlo way back in the Bronze Age.
Aggie must have sensed the trouble ahead. Maybe she was trying to find a way to prevent it.
Okay. And back to the museum again. Again, the bubbles. There. Kirk again.
She was alone, and I would bring her food sometimes, samphire and sea urchins. She would make dry food and we would eat it together. Textures unlike any we knew that broke apart in your hands and in your mouth. We would sing together, make tea together. We became her family. The dry folk left her alone. She had a companion for a few seasons, a hind who came down from the mountain and slept at her fire. And then, for a few more, her golden hair that ate from her hand. One
This was
night,
the opposite of her
we
daughter.
all felt it. Those of us in the water and those above. The island waking, rumbling, alive, more furious than before. I found Aggie awake, tending her fire, unsleeping, unresting, staring into her mirror. She told me she'd seen the island sinking into orange fire and boiling sea, lost forever above and below. The village and our town in the sea caves, all gone. Aggie went to the shore and blew the sinistral shell, calling our people up from the water. Aggie sang for them the oldest song, and we spoke for some time. That night, the sea and sky was all the same color, a deep grey blue like a mackerel's back without the glitter. As the dawn approached, Aggie left the beach to return to her people, to tell them what must be done.
I'm not sure I want to see what happens next.
We have to, Morris.
Okay. So let's go back to the museum. Okay. Festival of the Sea exhibit. And you can see it right here. Sinistral shell. Or sinistral shell. And then we'll just have one more memento and finish the game.
Such a small thing. But it changed the entire course of our island.
Okay, so let's go left. And let's go here. It's this one. This is like a fish person's skull. Yep. And the last bubbles are this chief elder, Otso.
We heard the shell and knew Aggie had returned. Ibni was the leader then. It had taken many seasons, more than we would have liked, but there were finally enough Morlo again, and our village was growing. We were strong. Some of the younger ones didn't know Aggie and didn't want to hear her, called her a moon-shot crone, but Ibni looked in her mother's face and saw the truth of it. The end would come. The earth was growling again. There would be hot rivers of death and clouds of poison. But Aggie brought us the answer. She would give herself to the island. Ibni's voice shook. Surely a deer or a goat would be enough. The year's finest, blackest calf. Aggie cast down her eyes and shook her head. We all knew. I offered my blade, but Aggie turned me away. She took her knife that had cut her own cord the night the volcano last erupted and wrapped Ibni's fingers tight around the bone hilt. It must be you, Ibni, she said, and it must be now, before the sun comes up. This day, this morning, or we are all gone. The village, the people, the island. Aggie embraced her daughter. Ibni whispered something, but I could not catch the words. Both women's faces shone with tears. Aggie sat on the ceremonial stone, the tears streaming now from all of us. Aggie delivered her final message. She told us her body must not be burned or given to the sea, but lain in the earth of the island beneath the mountain. Ibni was shaking, and then I realized it was not just Ibni. The whole island was trembling under our feet, waking up. Aggie told Ibni to be quick, the end was coming. As Aggie took Ibni's hand and guided the knife to her side, we saw the fishfolk rising from the sea, hundreds of them, so many. I had no idea there were so many. Aggie was quiet the whole time, but Ibni cried out. A sound of longing and hurting from her heart like I had never heard. Then she fell silent, and as Aggie's life poured from her body, the island and everything on it fell suddenly still. Utterly still. We wept then, in sorrow and relief. Then the fishfolk were among us, countless, numberless. One embraced Ibni, holding her up as it seemed her own legs might give way. When the sun came up that day, land and sea folk stood together for the first time, talking and singing the old songs, Aggie's songs, together. Ibni and the fish folk took Aggie up onto the mountain. They laid her in the peat alongside the knife and all the things she would need on her journey. Ibni watched over Aggie for days afterwards. Before she was covered, she placed a sacred carved stone, Aggie's beloved hair, inside her mother's mouth, to guide her and help her keep the mountain still forever. And so it was.
Oh, Aggie.
Okay, back to the museum. And the last memento is in Aggie's body. It's kind of gruesome a bit, but let's go in. Layer by layer. Into Aggie. There's the hair. Carved hair. That's all mementos in the game done. Pretty much the entire game done.
Sparky, it feels a bit, disrespectful looking inside Aggie's body like that.
You were the one who dug her up and put her on a plinth, Morris.
Yeah, but I...
Relax, Morris. This body isn't Aggie anymore. She's long past needing this old thing.
Well, all right then.
Okay, Morris. I'll level with you. We absolutely didn't need to find Aggie's mementos in order for me to sniff her out. She's here and waiting for you. She has been this whole time.
But then, why did we need to visit the Bronze Age?
Aggie thought it was important for you to see those memories, so you would understand her path before you met her. But also, wasn't it cool?
That it was. The things I've seen now. Oh, Sparky, thank you so much. To think, for a while there, I was worried that being dead was gonna be boring.
You are very welcome, Morris. Okay, so, shall we go say hello to Aggie?
Yes!
Okay, let's visit Aggie.
Morris! Sparky! It's so good to see you both.
Hey, Aggie.
Wait, you
done.
know me?
It's a platinum
Of
trophy.
course I do. Morris Lupton, one of the best loved men in the history of Shelmerston. with the very finest dog.
Me? Oh,
I
I
took
don't
around
know.
5 hours
Come now.
for the platinum.
Let's go out of this place, into the air.
The one part of Shelmerston that looks just the same as the first day I saw it. I suppose it always will.
I love this beach. It's always been my favorite beach. I'm gonna go run.
Aggie, look at Sparky. She's shining.
That's the hope and the joy shining out of her.
That's it, isn't it? The point of all of this.
It is hope. Home. This island, it chose the two of you just as it chose me.
And where will you be heading now? Heaven or something?
Heaven? What's that?
Well, I don't quite know how to explain it. But to me, it would be an awful lot like this beach.
I don't know where I'm going, but I'm hoping to see Ibni, my daughter. It's been a very long time, but I remember her. We never forget the ones we love, do we, Morris?
No, I don't suppose we do.
I think she wants something, Morris.
Huh. Would you look at that? I just found a tennis ball in my pocket. Here you are, girl.
So that was the end of I Am Dead, and as you can see, it's a very narrative, story-driven game. What happened in the end, as you saw, is that Morris and his dog Sparky became the curators of the island, taking over from Aggie. I don't recognize any of the voice actors here, so they're all new voice actors, and or maybe not new, but like not the regular ones that we see in most games. Annapurna Interactive. So very simple game to get through. Yeah, it's built with Unreal Engine. Okay, so that was it. That was I Am Dead. I hope you enjoyed this game and my playthrough. And I know I carried this episode long, but we got the platinum.